Portuguese politics, maybe because they've grown up with it, but we'll find out. It's great to talk to Daniel on these occasions about what's going on and what's been happening in this last week. So we'll come to you and get some clarification on that, Daniel, in just a moment. Lines. Need to make sure. There you go. From Publico, I think that image on the screen there. And I was alerted to this in the excellent Substack Portugal Weekly. Government set to fall after, I think that might be a little bit ahead of the game there, but the prediction, I think, for Portugal Weekly here, Jorge Branco, is government set to fall after PM calls confidence vote. So I think it's probably best to go to the experts, or the expert, my go-to guy on this, Daniel Reis of Reis and Pelicano. Good to see you back, Daniel. How are you?
Hello. I'm quite all right. It's indeed quite an incredible week for the politicians here in Portugal. Basically, Montenegro, the prime minister, he dropped the ball. This is my assessment out of it, and he dropped the ball. The first thing that I need to point out is that he had the law firm that he diverted the service providing contract from the law firm to a company that is not a law firm, which raises questions of this being a forbidden act, because for services provided by lawyers, it needs to be a law firm or the lawyer by himself providing those services. So if it's a company that is not a law firm providing those types of services, this can be considered a crime. This is the first thing that I do need to point out. In the Bar Association in Portugal started an investigation to see if the consultancy that they were providing was or can be considered legal or not. And was it really consultancy being provided or not? Because before he was prime minister, it seems that he had this company, that it was his family company. Then when he became prime minister, he sold the shares of the company to his wife, or donated the shares of the company to his wife. But as they are married under what we call the acquired property regime here in Portugal, the company belongs to the two of them. So he didn't sell anything. Basically, he was the one controlling the company. Now, he basically said that he's going to donate the company to his kids fully, but one kid is 19 and the other one is 23, and I do doubt that they are specialized in data protection, to be honest, because this is what the company was developing.
Right.
And the contracts that this company had was with, one was the casinos company, Solverde. So things are murky, and the problem with Montenegro, and where I do find that he did drop the ball, is that instead of explaining things thoroughly, he got fed up with it, and he said, "Well, you need to trust me, and this is my final word." Basically, this is what he has done, and the other parties were not convinced by it. And they decreed a motion, we call it moção de censura, or a motion to basically overthrow the government. This was not passed, but the government then said, we want a motion of confidence, and this will not pass. This is what's going to throw down the government. And this is Montenegro basically throwing himself to the lions, stating, I want a motion of confidence, that he knows straight away that it will not pass, because all the parties stated before that this will not pass. So it seems that we're going to have 4 elections this year. It's going to be quite busy, or not in this year, but in the hiatus of a year, we're going to have all the elections that we can have in Portugal, apart from the EU elections. So it's going to be busy for politicians. I was not expecting to have elections, to be honest. I would prefer to have stability, but it's the reality that we have. We are really going to elections. There's no way around it. And then there's the uncertainty. Will the extreme parties will they win more traction on the situation? Will they be able to, or the center parties, the PSD, the one that is in power, and the PS, the one that lost the last elections, will they be able to grow a bit? We don't know. And I would prefer stability, but it is what it is. We are really going to elections. I don't see any other way around of this.
Right. So you think May there will be an election? He will fall further come next Tuesday?
Yes, for me, this is for granted. We will have an election because the motion of confidence will be rejected. So the thing that I'm most afraid of is that in these types of situations, the extremes will grow, and if the extreme parties will grow, it's going to be ever more difficult to form a coalition government.
Yeah.
And I don't see anything positive coming out of this election. But at the end of the day, Montenegro should have been wiser, and well, I will recur to the English expression of wanting the cake and eating the cake and having the cake. And this is what Montenegro wanted to have. He wanted to have his carry on business as usual in his private life, but he needs to be an exclusive as a prime minister.
Yeah.
Thus, something needs to give, and it's too late now for him to give up his company. And I don't know if he will need to give up on his seat as a prime minister. Let's wait and see. And what's the end result of the elections? I must say that I'm disappointed, and I
Yeah.
was not expecting this.
Okay, this will happen in May then. So a couple of things, if I may, because this is an extraordinary time in the world and in Portugal.
Correct.
And I suppose it was worth a try to say, you should just trust me, and that's all I have to say about this. That probably doesn't go down very well, does it?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
He said he even went further than that. One of his last declarations was, "I don't have time to be always providing explanations," in somewhat of a brute force, and people are not too keen on that.
Right. Yes, you people with all your questions. I guess
Yes.
in public office, in public office, you might need to be a bit more robust than that.
Yes.
And you say 3 out of 4 possible elections. I mean, there is time, Daniel. If the EU decide to take back the UK, then that might throw up a, because that could happen
Well,
any minute now.
yes.
Yeah,
Why
that
not?
could throw up an EU election as well. And that would have all 4 then, wouldn't we?
I would prefer to have the 4 or 5 all in one day. We can decide it all. But
Yes.
that's not going to be the reality. So we'll have 4 different elections in 4 different days. So
Well, incredible. Thank you for your analysis. Really helpful. I think that helped fellow fan of Portuguese politics, José Cruz, as well, who said, I've been listening to the Portuguese news and my limited understanding would indicate that PM Montenegro made public his family company. So is this purely a political grab for power? Given all the uncertainty throughout Europe, this is not the best time for countries to be publicly displaying their internal divisions. Well, you're absolutely right, you're saying. We'll come back to more of your comments and anybody else's comments or questions on that. Fascinating. Thank you, Daniel. Anything else from the world of law, or is this rather overshadowed things this week?
I think this does overshadow the rest.
Right.
And I don't see anything with big interest considering this case. This
All
is
right. Thank
what.
you, Daniel, for being here. Any questions about the law and that, please pop them in the chat. Gilda, good evening to you. How are you? You were smiling. You were interested, I think, listening to Daniel's commentary there. Would you like to add some of your own as well?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, I was agreeing with Daniel with everything. It's a shame. It's a
Right.
shame. We are disappointed. I was very optimistic coming here every week saying it's everything is getting better. It's getting better. The IMA is getting better. The migration law is getting better. The decisions are getting better. And now this happens, and we will start over again.
Right. So you think this will